François Auguste René Rodin was born on November 12, 1840, in Paris, France, into a poor working-class family. He started learning drawing and modeling at the age of 13 when he entered drawing school. When he was 17, he attempted to enter the prestigious École des Beaux-Arts, but he was rejected 3 times. He subsequently enrolled in the School of Decorative Arts, referred to as the Petite École because of its status as the lesser version of the École des Beaux-Arts. In 1862, his older sister Maria passed away. Guilty about introducing her to a suitor who had been unfaithful, the grief-stricken Rodin suspended his art-making and joined the Catholic order with the intent of taking the cloth. However, the head of his congregation, upon recognizing Rodin's artistic prowess, encouraged him to return to sculpture. In 1864, Rodin attended classes in animal anatomy run by Antoine-Louis Barye, another French sculptor. Barye's attention to detail, especially in the musculature of animals in motion, would become an influence for Rodin's works. In 1875, Rodin visited Italy, observing and admiring the works of Michelangelo and Donatello. The notable sculptors would also seriously impact his art, particularly his bronze works. As Rodin became more artistically active, he too became more sexually active. In 1900, he attempted to seduce famous dancer Isadora Duncan. In 1904, at the age of 63, he had an affair with 27-year-old painter Gwen John, who modeled for him many times. After finally rejecting her advances, she would later stalk him. However, his relationship with women several years his minor did not begin with her. Although his lifelong partner, Rose Beret, was around the same age, he met another enduring lover, Camille Claudel, whom he would see simultaneously when she was 18 and he was 42. Tripling as his confidant, student, and assistant, Claudel modeled the hands and feet of the burghers of Calais, posed for figures in his Gates of Hell piece, and inadvertently became the subject of many of his other pieces, such as Eternal Springtime, Mask of Camille Claudel, and Camille Claudel with Short Hair. Their tumultuous affair produced works from both artists, although Claudel wasn't as obvious in depicting Rodin's influence. Furthermore, her contribution to Rodin's sculptures was so significant that it is difficult to discern their work on those pieces. Despite Claudel's passionate love for Rodin, it is very likely that the latter ensured that she received little funding for her art. After concluding the intimate aspect of their relationship, Claudel continued to see Rodin and depended on him financially. In 1905, Claudel accused him of stealing her art, and then proceeded to live secludedly until her family admitted her to a psychiatric hospital in 1913. Although some records suggest that she was mentally ill, historians theorize that Claudel's family and Rodin conspired to institutionalize her. Rodin would not see her again, as she lived the remainder of her life in an asylum. However, he did eventually marry Rose Beret, but during the last year of both their lives. Beret passed away in the February of 1917, and Rodin followed 9 months later.
The following Thursday.
Hey everyone, I'm here with the ghost of Auguste Rodin to talk about his artistic style and the criticisms he received during his life and afterwards. Good morning, how are you?
A little tired, if I'm being honest. You're very beautiful. Are you single?
Anyways, your works have been noted as straddling realism and symbolism. How would you describe your overall thought process when you created your pieces?
Well, I really like the human form. In fact, you have a very good one. But most of my sculptures are people, but it's hard to replicate a full human. So I tend to just sculpt random body parts, because that was pretty fun.
Many artists, such as Gian Lorenzo Bernini with his rendition of David, have attempted to tell a story with their sculptures. Is that what you've tried to do?
Wow, no, not at all. I was deeply invested in my several relationships, and that translated over into work. I wanted to depict the emotions and thoughts of the relationships between the figures in my pieces, just as realistically as their anatomy. And speaking of anatomy,
Let's move on to the next question. So you received a lot of criticism in your early career. How did that impact you?
Yeah, it was actually pretty ridiculous. I got a lot of criticism for my sculptures being too realistic. People thought that I had cast them from a model, like just straight up cast from a model. And in terms of impact, I just kept working. True artists are almost the only men who do their work for pleasure.
So, even after your death, there was still a lot of critical reception circulating the art world. For example, in the early 20th century, post-impressionism dominated the art world and your art fell out of favor. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, that was an interesting time to observe from beyond the grave. And I just think that, art is always changing, but there are definitely aspects that are retained. And in terms of those other artists, I respect their interests, even though that's not really my thing. But it's inevitable that reverence for my art is going to wax and wane. Another thing that I have observed from beyond the grave is this interesting act called wax play.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your time. That's all we have for today. Goodbye.
Auguste Rodin, the Bronze Man.